Everything is fine here on Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Mike, joined by Waving Greg and Dustin, here to talk some Star Wars with everybody. As a reminder, we are live right now, so bring us your questions, comments, opinions, all of that to our chat, and we'll be happy to speak to those as those come through. So how's everyone doing? Good to see you, Greg. We haven't seen you in a while.
Like Palpatine, I have returned.
I was wondering if you were going to bring that joke.
Like, somehow.
I was hoping Mike would have said, brought me in that way. You could have.
Yeah, but I don't want to steal your thunder.
Your dream.
That was your
dream.
That was your joke. I didn't want to steal your thunder.
Well, you should have.
But like your sweatshirt, I salute you, sir. So, how about you, Dustin? How you doing?
I'm running Stag this weekend, bro.
Oh wow, running Stag.
Yep. So I'm in a softball tournament, and my wife's like, "The hell with that."
Where at?
Egan.
Oh, which
Lexington
Egan
Disley.
Fields? It's not the Northview Fields, is it? Because that's where I play.
Well, it might be.
There's two complexes in Egan. One is the Northview.
It's by that water tower.
Yeah, I think that's the other one.
Cylinder.
Is there like a McDonald's across the way?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other one.
So softball tournament
landmarks since 1961.
Dude, we have 4 games. Every other team has 3. It's kind of bullshit. And we start at 8. So we do 8, 9, 10. We get a break and then play again at 12.
The 8 o'clock sucks, but having 4 games is awesome.
I like it getting them done early.
It's better weather.
Was that like a round robin, or you said it?
Yeah, round robin. But this is basically for seeding for the championship week or championship day of Sunday. So
right, yeah.
I'll be on my own. Gonna watch a lot of action, like bloody action movies. I'm gonna drink some beer. I'll play some
Visions Volume 2.
Well, if I can sandwich it between the new John Wick movie and the new I want to watch Quantumania. So
yeah.
But John Wick's on video on demand, so I'll pay the $20 to watch that. Like, no problem. Like, I'm pretty pumped. So yeah, that's what I got going on, and we have a baby on the way. I think we talked about that. So I don't know the gender, so it is doing really well as far as all the ultrasound stuff. So it's still pretty early, halfway through, but we're at the 50-yard line.
That away.
Nice.
Yeah, Greg's on the less than a week. Right?
Yeah, we're in the red zone.
You're in the red zone.
No, and so is Mudge. Mudge is in the red zone. He's like on the 20.
Yeah, I feel like we've just passed the 20-yard line.
Yeah,
so.
you're at the 20. 5-yard line.
Yeah,
probably something like that.
Get your goal line defense ready, Mudge.
Next week.
I can't wait for Mudge to experience the joys and horrors of parenthood.
More specifically, the horrors, right?
No, I want you to experience.
So we can have communal venting sessions.
I hope that you enjoy, that you have the joys, but I'm really going to enjoy you experiencing the horrors. Like that's I want you. I'm not a sadist. Like I'm not. I want you to have joy. The kid's gonna bring you joy 90% of the time, 95% of the time. It's that 5% that you're gonna be like, how do you projectile poop out of your diaper? Like those are the stories I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to this kid won't sleep, and I don't know how I'm going to live the rest of my life because that's what we've been experiencing.
Well, the lack of sleep is the thing I'm going to struggle with. I know that.
I hope your kid's not colicky. Luckily, our first wasn't. So knock on wood, the second won't be either. But I hear that is just brutal.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we're all coming to D-Day for babies, which means they're all going to be good friends and they can all talk Star Wars with each other. So,
do you have names picked out for boy
we
or
do.
girl?
We do for both, but we also have like those secondary names just in case. Like
Dustin's one of them.
Dustin's one of them.
Just in case between now and the birth, you meet somebody that like ruins the name for you.
I mean, that's a valid point. But the other thing is too, like we've heard some people like they've seen the baby and they had a name for it and they're like, it just doesn't fit. But this other name that we thought of kind of fits this baby a little more. So, but we're pretty like certain on what the two names would potentially be. So,
do you guys have a doula?
A doula?
Oh, I guess not. If you don't know what that is,
well, maybe I know it as something else.
They're like midwives, right? They specialize in helping your wife with the birthing process.
We don't. We just have the doctor.
Yeah.
We've been taking classes and courses.
I hated those so much, dude.
You took classes?
Yeah.
Do you know how much of the class we actually remembered or used during the birth? Like 0. I mean, because dude, I didn't birthing plan
and read the book,
and then it goes out the window.
And one of the teachers said that too. They're like, a lot of the things you're going to pick up here, it's going to go out the window once you get there because your mind's going to be racing. You're not going to be thinking of those things.
Dude, nothing will prepare you for your wife waking you up at 4 a.m, yelling at you like, we gotta go. It's the fastest you'll ever wake up in your life.
But they also said that that's what the nurses' aides there are for, to help you through that process as well. So
that reminds me, I still have to pack my to-go bag.
There's a lot of downtime, surprisingly, depending on how the delivery goes. I mean, some people they deliver within hours, if not, sooner.
We were 8 hours from, the first one, 8 hours from inducement to birth.
Greg, was Everly a natural birth or a C-section?
Natural.
Okay. Because Bennett was a C-section.
Outside of the demon leaving my wife about halfway through because she, like the epidural, so she got induced, but then the epidural wasn't administered right away, and so she went through some things, and she's a braver person than I, but I'm there trying to whisper sweet nothings into her ear and keep her calm, and all of a sudden the spawn of Satan comes out of my wife, and I froze. I'm not gonna lie, I froze. I'm like, I don't know what that was. I looked at the nurse like, is this normal?
I've never met that before.
Not sure we'd be in this situation if that came out earlier.
I'm hoping you've told her that. Otherwise, I'm going to show her this recording and get her reaction.
She knows. Okay. Oh no, she knows. Yeah, I've did the story of that birth, because I had the nurse ask, "Do you want to cut the umbilical cord?" Nope, I'm still using kindergarten scissors. So you handle that. All right. Don't give me sharp objects. And then
I was all for it. I was like, hell yeah.
Okay, so you didn't cut it, because I'm kind of like,
no, I did.
Dude, do it. It's great. It's nothing.
No, because there was that, and then there was,
now, don't eat the placenta, you cannibal.
Do you want to be in there? Or, I was like, no, I want to be do you want to be down? I was like, what? No, what am I getting? Blue 42.
Taking the snap.
Yeah, no, again, I didn't go to medical school. I barely made it through all the seasons of ER.
I just couldn't do that in fear of being the one that passes out, and now we need a second room because they need medical attention.
No, my plan was to be up by her head and just hey, you're doing great.
That's
awesome.
What my plan is.
And then maybe kind of peek at it like a car accident, But
can't not look.
But no,
I didn't. I didn't look at all because there's a giant curtain.
Good.
No, we didn't have that. No, we had. The nice thing was the hospital we were at had a cot, so that's where I was sleeping, not on a recliner or anything like
couch
that.
Thing.
I mean, I had a legit twin size bed on wheels, which was perfect. But everything starts happening so fast that they're bringing the team's coming in, so I just throw this bed into a corner. All of our
there can only be one Highlander.
I mean, that was it. But we had our bag of stuff that's just up against a wall. I was like, just make room. And so all of a sudden, both questions. Hey, do you want to be? I want to be up by her head, petting her and whispering sweet nothings, and I don't want to, cut the. And I was like, I'm not going to cut the umbilical cord. I was wrong on both. I answered wrong on both. During
what's a bummer, guys?
What's that?
We're never going to be able to take our families to the Star Cruiser.
That's true. We had plans.
Probably because we could have never afforded it in the beginning, but
yeah, but Mike,
I think you have some information for us on that.
Mike, we were going to do the bunk beds.
I know. That was all part of the plan.
For activities.
Yes,
ridiculous.
So we do have a couple of news bits. that being one of them. But first, I have to say, congratulations, guys, on episode 75. This is our 75th episode recording.
Isn't it like the diamond episode or something? Like when it comes to anniversaries,
like 100, right? Wouldn't that be the prime?
How many
one?
people have 100 anniversaries?
And we're also at our next milestone for downloads. We might meet on this one for both of those. So congrats to all four of us. I know Zach's not here, but congrats to all four of us for that. I wanted to start with this one, just pay some respects, because there has been tragic news in the Star Wars and entertainment industry. So Star Wars fans mourn the passing of actor and creator Ray Stevenson. Ray became one with the Force on May 22nd. He was 58 when he passed, and it was just 4 days before his 59th birthday. So Ray had contracted what they're calling a mystery illness and was hospitalized at the Rizzoli Hospital on the island of Ischia in Italy while filming the movie Casino in Ischia. So if you don't know who Ray Stevenson is, he voices the character Gar Saxon in the show Rebels, and he portrays the orange lightsaber wielding character Baylan Skoll in the upcoming Ahsoka series. So his character is a former Jedi turned to the dark side who allies with Grand Admiral Thrawn. And his portrayal of the character has been summarized by many on set as haunting. So I feel like this is another one of those. I'm spacing on his name, who played the Joker in
Heath Ledger.
Because I feel like that was a very similar description of his character in that movie, but just super unfortunate. And I mean, we don't know what the fate of this character is in the upcoming Ahsoka series. Does he survive? And, was there plans for him in like a second season or whatnot? Or was this season the end of his character? But he did such a good job in all the things he portrayed. So he's in The Punisher Warzone, Dexter, Black Sails, MCU Thor trilogy, King Arthur, The Other Guys, and Divergent series. And just a fantastic actor. What are you guys' thoughts?
Life is fleeting, man. It really is. And you gotta, I don't know, it's so cliche, but we gotta.
But it's true. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So just it's an absolute shame, because that guy was phenomenal. He was a great actor. You always enjoyed him being on screen, and we won't get that anymore.
Yeah.
He's that great character actor that, I don't know that he's necessarily, a lead in any whatever, everything that you've named.
Right.
He wasn't top billing, but he was vital. It felt vital, in every scene that he was in. He had something that kind of memorable or brought the scene together. So that's gonna suck. He's one of those hidden gems in the acting world where you may not know his name right away, but you see a screenshot, you're gonna be able to pick, oh, that guy's awesome.
Yeah. And I think I remember him the most from King Arthur, and then also the Thor trilogy, of course. But every time he came in, he puts it all in his characters, and he just does a very believable job and very dedicated job to portraying that character. And even
the way he's able to transition, you don't picture him as just one character.
No, he's versatile, and he can be a good guy or a bad guy.
He slips into the character, and he, like you had said, he makes that character very believable. Then he moves on to the next, and that character is just as believable.
Yeah. And it's very interesting that it's a mystery illness, because I don't think they've really truly released details of his death outside of an illness potentially, and that he was hospitalized during the filming. But his impact was definitely felt from the ones around him. So according to the official Star Wars Twitter handle, Ray once shared that getting to wield the lightsaber is the best feeling in the world. So he obviously had a passion and dedication to Star Wars, and it meant a lot to him. And then Dave Filoni was quoted, we have lost a great talent and friend in Ray Stevenson. His kindness and generosity were felt by our entire team on Ahsoka. I always look forward to working with Ray, and I appreciated his insight and daily wisdom. I'm glad that his memory will live on through his family, friends, and the many characters he created. Thank you, Ray, for everything. And I mean, the Rebel show is done by Dave Filoni. I don't know if they necessarily, I mean, I'm sure they've met for that show, but if you're doing voiceover, you're not really in person all the time, but obviously they work together, and then a lot more in person for the Ahsoka show. So very tragic news. And our heart and prayers go out to the family and friends and everyone around him for his passing. So, and then the other news, which Dustin alluded to. So Disney to close the Star Wars themed hotel and immersive venture, the Galactic Star Cruiser, less than 2 years after opening. And this news has kind of been around for a bit, but I will say it's not that shocking. And we were kind of talking about this before jumping on, but I think what was shocking about it is how soon it was. And Greg, you were kind of speaking to that a little bit, because it came fast, less than 2 years. It's going to be closed down.
One, like the other thing that's kind of, the other thing that I find kind of crazy is they had bookings. Now, I don't know how far into the future all the bookings went, but now they're talking to people about trying to reschedule their trip to fit within the, the timeline of the closing, or offering refunds. And that, it's just, why didn't you just look at like your booking schedule? Like, all right, if it's going to close, okay. Like, I don't know how much money it was hemorrhaging.
Just play out.
But it's like, if you have bookings until the end of February 2024, then just ride it out until the end of February 2024, and make the announcement now that, hey, we're going to take bookings up until this, and that's it. After February, we're done. But it feels very rushed that they make the announcement in. It was in May. It was this month. It was like a couple weeks ago, wasn't it, that the announcement came out?
Yep.
You're making it in May, that you're closing it at the end of September. Like, that feels very rushed for a Disney action. Like, you would think they're going to take 6 months to a year to basically do anything.
Yep. Yeah, because to your point, the final voyage to take place September 28th through the 30th. And as a reminder, all visits are 2-night stays with a starting cost of more than $4,800 for 2 people and around $6,000 for a family of 4. So I do think the costs were probably a major contribution towards it. Granted, the person who was heading this towards the original release was saying that appointments or bookings were very steady. There was definitely a want and a need for this. But I think more than that, it was the cost of, keeping it going was super expensive for them as well. And I know the reason for doing this was done in an effort for Disney to cut overall costs by more than $5 billion. And the Star Cruiser itself cost hundreds of $millions to get going and to keep running. So definitely the dollar bills.
So there's a website, WDWNT. So it looks like it's Walt Disney World News today. Closing in September, they can do a $300 million tax write-off. By closing it, the Star Cruiser in September, it'll enable them to claim a write-off of approximately $300 million, as stated by Disney Parks Chairman Josh DiMario.
Well, there's your reason for cutting it then.
300 million. I mean, that,
screw the people. We just want to make the money, or we want to not lose the money.
I do want to say that, like, bravo to Disney for doing something so bold. I do think they missed the mark.
Yeah.
With the price.
That's true.
With the price and, the time period that they chose to kind of showcase was, I think, not as beneficial to them. If they would have, I've seen this quite a bit on social media, and it's like, oh, if you guys would have done the original trilogy, it would have been better.
Yep.
It was just people can't afford that though, and they did it at a bad time during the pandemic, or still it was the tail end of the pandemic, but still during the pandemic. But again, and this is something that they put in the news release. It did hopefully set some groundwork for things that they could do. I'm curious as to what they will do with that facility with it closing, right? Like, because
I would imagine some kind of hotel or some kind of
Marvel themed, or
Well, is it? I mean, but it's in the shape of a ship, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was. I thought like it was literally built in the shape of a spaceship to be even more realistic.
I don't know. I can't.
Greg's looking it up.
I do know it's all concrete with like no windows. Not that they can't build windows into the current structure.
Google Maps just shows it pre-completion. Yeah, let's see if we can.
You can share. I might have to allow you.
Oh, then where's How do I share in here? I use Google for work.
Okay,
share screen. It's on the bottom.
So at the bottom of the.
All right. There we go. Can you see it?
It's coming. Yep.
Wow.
That's the Star Cruiser. I don't know. It doesn't look like much of a ship, but then again,
because it was named the Halcyon.
Yeah, I mean that's like right there, the crown of Corellia.
Why don't you just look up what did the Star Cruiser Hotel look like?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Got you thinking now. I thought it was in the shape of a ship. That's kind of the authentic part.
But it's fully enclosed, so it doesn't necessarily
space.
It doesn't necessarily have to.
Like I thought it looked like that.
Like right here. Or yeah.
Well, they had a model. I mean, that's what the ship is supposed to look like, but I don't know. I mean, that would be quite the investment to make the actual structure. See, there's the structure, the bottom left. Yeah, you're
like right here.
No, like where you're at right now. Ariel looks at the start. Yep. See, it's just a concrete building.
Oh, that's kind of lame, man. I thought I don't know. Maybe this is just the kid in me. I thought it looked like that ship. They just built it like to look like that.
From the inside, it's kind of. I mean, it's laid out, so it feels.
It looks like you're going to Jurassic Park,
But yeah, because there's no windows. There. It's just like LED screens that give the appearance that you're in space and stuff like that. So they can really turn that into almost anything they want to.
Yeah. So then you're right. I in my imagination, I was like, it looks like a spaceship. It does not.
That would be cool.
They could turn to a Jurassic Park theme.
They really could. Hold on to your butts. But yeah, to your point though, too, Dustin, like I think not that it would have made the difference of this surviving or not surviving, but I think if they would have gone with like more original trilogy theme, it would have been received that much better.
There you go. It'll kick up, but it'll be this will, when it pops up, you'll see.
Yeah, because people have described it as looking more like a prison than a hotel.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Yep.
That's actually pretty small. That's a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
That's a huge bummerooski for my imagination.
Yeah. Nah, Mike, it's not that small. These trees are just freaking huge.
But it gives you all the more reason why they were able to, cut ties with it, because there might have been an investment in the building, but you're not pigeonholing yourself to what it can be. So
yeah. No, that makes sense.
Let's see. The announcement came as Disney pulled the plug on plans to build a $1 billion office complex in Orlando. The decision said to be influenced by the company's feud with Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. Yeah. It was also not long after Robert Iger, is in return company's chief executive, unveiled corporate reconstructing intended to cut costs by 5.5 billion.
Well, I think Bob Iger coming back, kind of to Dustin's point, them pulling the trigger on this so fast. I think him coming back is
Yep. That's what, I mean, that was their intention to bring Bob Iger and like bring him back for a couple years and have him like, all right, chopping block. We're going to get rid of all this stuff.
Yeah. You got to level set and then go from there.
And then press the restart button a little bit. I mean, because they're doing that with Marvel. They're doing that with Star Wars. They're doing that with a lot of Disney stuff. I mean, they even pulled like they're pulling the Willow show from Disney Plus and all these different things. So they're really, revamping or restarting their whole mindset of the works that they're producing,
which will be very interesting to see where it goes. But
I think it's good though. I think we'll get less content, but I think we'll get better quality stuff, and that's not just with Star Wars, that's with everything in general. They were bringing in so much money, they were saying yes to everything essentially. So
but do you think they try another one of these Star Cruiser?
They'll do something, maybe not a Star Cruiser or, but something immersive. They might invest more into Galaxy's Edge or something of the sort, because even Galaxy's Edge doesn't have that much to offer at this time, but it's such a cool concept.
You've never been there, Mike. You don't know.
That's true. That's only what I've heard, but you've been there.
No, it does. It offers enough to be able to spend a good portion of your day there, but I don't think it offers enough for you to spend multiple days. Like, all right, we got to go back and go back and go back. Like a lot of the Disney parks, you may go to the same park. If you're going to Disney, for a week, you may go to the same park twice, in 2 days, because you need 2 days to be able to see. And at least from what I, got, and we did a bunch of run. I mean, I was able to see almost everything that I kind of wanted to. There was more I wanted to experience, but when I went down there, we did 3 Disney parks. It was my wife, my brother-in-law, and his wife, so my sister-in-law. We did 3 different Disney parks in one day. We got there when they herd the cattle in to begin at, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning, something like that. And we didn't leave until after they shut down Epcot and the fireworks and everything else at like 10:30. I mean, I think I walked 47 miles. Like, it was crazy. But obviously there you're running around trying to do as much as you can. So I wasn't able to spend as much time at Galaxy's Edge as I wanted to, but I didn't feel like I got cheated out of the main things I wanted to see. I would have loved to have gone to do the lightsaber or the droid, most likely both, build those. There were, some like the smaller things and like the details that I could have spent more time kind of looking at and, checking out. But we rode Rise of the Resistance, Smuggler's Run. So I was able to check out, I was able to get my thermal detonator Sprite. So like
Dustin got me a few of those too.
Well, yeah. But like I said, so like a day or so there, half a day, and you can basically do everything that you'd want. Yeah. The nice thing about Smuggler's Run, though, spoiler alert if you haven't been there, but it's a ride that you can basically run back and you can ride it like 3 straight times and get a different experience every time.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they have the one spot where you're like the pilot. And then they have where I think you're like a gunner on it. And then they have one where like you're the engineer. So like when stuff goes wrong, you got to push some buttons and like fix the ship. So but it's 3 different roles that you play. It's the same ride, but it's a different experience. So that part was kind of cool.
Do you think your experience there would have been different if it was more themed towards like original trilogy versus sequel trilogy, or do you think that really didn't play as much of an impact?
Number one, cost, right? Cost was the number one reason it failed. Not making it accessible. They say the bookings were good, right? But
no, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Galaxy's Edge. I'm talking about Greg's experience at Galaxy's Edge.
Well,
Samsonite.
No, well, I mean, Galaxy's Edge. I mean, you think about it, like Smuggler's Run.
You're still Millennium Falcon, so
yeah. And they have Hondo, and Hondo is, he's in like my top 10 for like favorite Star Wars characters. I do think, and I think that where you talked about expanding
To
Galaxy's
Galaxy's
Edge,
Edge.
I think, for me, having more of the original trilogy, I think would have been great. And I think that that's where they have the possibility to expand it, where you could take Galaxy's Edge, have this large section, and kind of portion it off original, sequel,
Right.
prequel, type of deal where there would be enough to kind of cover it. So
yeah, I just think like when you're walking around, would you rather see like First Order stormtroopers or like the regular stormtroopers that you saw? Do you want to see Kylo Ren and Rey walking around, or do you want to see Luke, Leia, Han, and Darth Vader walking around? Like those types of things.
See, and that's where I think like I would try to, if they expand the footprint of Galaxy's Edge,
You could dive into all of that.
Because there are certain, for us, original trilogy, but then you have a section of fans that are going to be prequel, and they
and if you do that,
it's not a large section, let's be real, but there's a section, and then you have like newer fan, with the new order, and you can really kind of immerse yourself in multiple aspects of,
and if you did that, you can make a multiple day experience.
Yeah.
One where you're going to those different sections of it.
Yeah. Hey, today we're going to go check out the prequels and the original trilogy. And then, whatever. That's what I would like to kind of have happen.
And then if you're Disney, you can look at those sales metrics and be like, all right, this is where the fanship is investing their money into. Like, look at the sales that the original trilogy is putting out, prequel trilogies putting out, sequel trilogies putting out. That's all data that can be very useful for the direction Star Wars should look into going at that time, whether it's for the park or for shows or for movies, anything. So,
fellas, I got to get going. I got dad duty. I got to put the kiddo down for bed. So,
we'll cover
kind of abruptly finish her off. But
duty calls. Being
hopefully,
a parent comes
hopefully
first.
Not, man. You don't want to.
Not literally.
Yeah, no duty on this particular adventure. But thank you guys so much. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, because that's coming up. This will release on Memorial Day, I believe. So,
yep.
Everyone, all our fans and subscribers, listeners, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Non-subscribers, go F yourselves. No, I'm just kidding. But do subscribe.
After you're done effing yourself, subscribe.
Yeah, after you're done effing yourself, subscribe to our podcast. Wash your hands first. But yeah, we appreciate everybody. And, hopefully everyone has good weather. I know we're set to have some good weather. We got a softball tournament. We'll see how we do. And may the force be with everyone. That's all I got. So
perfect. Well,
bye.
We'll see you next time, Dustin.
See ya.
Yeah, so I just really think that there's potential there, that Disney,
there's money to be made.
There's money to be made.
And think about it, merchandise sales, with the original trilogy. And there is money to be made there if you're willing to kind of do it.
Now you got to spend money to make money, because they would have to invest the amount to expand to be able to incorporate those different things, of course. Yeah. But and probably now is not the right time, since they're looking to do cuts. But when they come out of those cuts, it's definitely something worth, in my opinion, investigating.
You got to think, and maybe they are having these conversations behind closed doors. Neither one of us work for Disney or George Lucas or anything Star Wars, but anyways, so you got to figure what's being discussed in May of 2023 most likely is not going to be implemented until 2025.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, because you're going to look at probably like a year's worth of planning, making sure, all right, we got this, we got that, work out all the kinks. Then they'll go into kind of construction and do everything. Maybe they open, so you're looking, maybe they open it holiday season 2024 if they were to do something, but you're still a year and a half away.
Yeah.
From that. If conversations are happening right now. And at that point, things could be vastly different.
Yep. I just think and I might be totally way off base here, but to me, it just makes sense. Not that it's any indication of, which trilogy is better or what Star Wars content is better than the other. Just strictly in terms of people who are investing money or paying money. Mm-hmm. There are far more people who have experience or loyalties or fanship towards the original trilogy that are spending the actual money versus people that are doing that for the sequel trilogy. Because, I mean, Disney and Star Wars likes to, point towards the youth, like, get them enjoy or have them enjoy this content. They'll grow up with it and whatnot and become lifelong Star Wars fans. But those kids aren't the ones investing the money. I mean, the parents are paying the money for like the toys and stuff like that for them, for the content they like. But if you come to like original trilogy fans or prequel trilogy fans, we kind of fall like right in the middle. We were raised between those two trilogies. But there's just they're investing money for themselves in those products.
I think we would really fall into the prequel.
Yeah.
When you think about, because 1999.
Well, that's true. We were high school.
1999, it came out. We were 13.
8th grade.
Like that. Yeah. I mean, I turned 14 tail end of 99. So, that would have been now obviously, but
we were also Star Wars fans before we saw those.
But that was the other thing, though, was that, I mean, all three of the original trilogies came out prior to us being born. So throughout the 90s, if we did watch any Star Wars TV, like you had mentioned, watching it. So I think we grew up on the original trilogy in our, real younger youth, like elementary school.
Preteen.
Yeah. And I think that's where you can kind of get kids, especially with toys and that, because when you think about it, if you're 14, 15, and you're just now being introduced to a story and a franchise like Star Wars, are you going to necessarily want all of the toys that come along with it? Maybe, but realistically, are you going to be pushing, to get these toys?
Right.
Or is a 7 or an 8-year-old going to watch the movie, see the toy and go, oh, I want this, Ma, can I get the X-Wing fighter? I want the X-Wing fighter. Like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old getting into high school, you're going to enjoy the story and, but you're going to experience it different. And so the money aspect with toys and memorabilia and everything on that side, if you grab the kids early, and to that point, I think that may have played a part in why Galaxy's Edge is more tailored to the latest trilogy.
Oh, for sure.
Out, because it was kind of a way to get people, interested in the sequel trilogy. Like,
oh, for sure.
You saw it. You may not have been 100% on board, but now you come here, you
create lasting memories that go with it.
Like now you get an interaction with the First Order or something, makes the movie a little bit more memorable. But to your point, if they were to spread it out or like section it off, like we talked, I think they would see that the majority of the money is getting spent on original trilogy memorabilia, souvenirs, all that, because
I mean,
that's where people go back to.
Like when, so when like our parents' generation, becomes the one with the Force and passes on, then you'll start losing some of that original trilogy, not interest, but like money. And then once millennials start falling off, then that will impact the prequel trilogy. But I just look at it like right now, if you have someone that like my cousin Kevin, who like one of the biggest Star Wars fans I know, he loves Star Wars. And he grew up going to theaters and watching the original trilogy. He's going to be investing money in the original trilogy. He's going to be investing money in the prequel trilogy, and he's going to be investing money in the sequel trilogy. If you go to like kids now, they're just more so investing money into what they're seeing, or have investing their parents' money in what there's like your point. Like
a lot of Mandalorian.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of Mandalorian. Oh, I want that toy that I'm seeing on TV. I want that toy. I want that toy. And that's really, narrowing it down to the sequel trilogy stuff. So I think you're just missing a whole lot more sales by focusing in on the sequel trilogy. But I think to your point, it's also about getting people to receive the current content more and getting them on board with it, pun intended, with Star Cruiser, to help, fall in love with that. So I get that too.
Yeah. I just like the concept of Star Cruiser in my mind is a successful concept.
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
But it was the execution
and cost.
Well, and that's wrapped into the execution, but it's the the way they executed it, the strategy that they went to market with,
yes,
is where they failed. And I don't know if it was just a matter of some people, higher up in Disney thinking Star Wars is too big to fail. If we put this out there, Field of Dreams, if you build it, he will come.
Yep.
That's what they thought. And Star Wars fans are like, if you
have our limits.
If you build crap, I'm not coming.
Right.
And if you make, if you charge an arm and a leg and a firstborn child, I'm not coming.
Right.
That's the problem. And
their business strategy was, I think, very problematic.
And I know that it was large cost, but it felt like what they were charging for what you were kind of getting, like you had said, it's a windowless building.
Yeah.
So yeah, the views are going to be kind of cool, but there's no real kind of. At the end of the day, you're going down to Central Florida to stay in a hotel.
Yep. Well, and
then let your imagination run wild based on a story that everybody loves.
Yep. And to your point of when you said going to Central Florida, I think one of the things they forgot about is the people that are going to this are more so people outside of the state than the people inside the state. Yeah. And if it's a 2-day or 2-night, 3-day experience and you're charging that much, people aren't going to Florida, traveling to Florida for 2-3 days. They're not spending that much money to be there a couple days and be like, all right, we're taking the family and we're flying back. No, they're going to be staying there in that area longer, which means they're investing even more money than what they're paying for the Star Cruiser. And people can't afford that.
Well, and I think that, all right, if you're going to Disney, because everybody, everybody talks to Disney, you go there for a week or so. Yeah. Like, I don't know, some people may go there longer, but normally
average probably 5 days,
Disney,
5-7 days
Disney for like a week. Yeah. Like a full 7 days or something like that. Maybe 10 days, it's a total vacation with travel times, but you need all that for Disney because they got 4 parks. So we're going to spend the entire day at Animal Kingdom. We're going to spend the entire day at Epcot or, whatever their schedule is. So if you want, if they're there for 5 days, let's just say, right? 7 days total, but you got a couple of travel. So, and that is going to cost them 10 grand, something like that.
Yep.
All right. Now you want them to stay, for 5 grand, so total
up to 6 grand for 4 people.
Yeah. So you got 6 grand there, and that's 3 days, 2 nights.
Yep.
Something like that. So now you still have 4 days to go. You've already spent 6 grand.
You got 4 grand left to go on your 10K budget.
How are you going to, you can't do it. You're just not, you're either not going to go to any of the other Disney parks, or you're going to have to find some trade-off.
Yep.
And what's the trade-off? Well, we can go do Galaxy's Edge and get our Star Wars fix there.
Yep.
As cool as being fully immersed for a couple days would be, I can't justify spending 60% of a vacation budget for 3 days.
Yep. Exactly.
It just can't. And so I think that's where people had kind of, especially coming out of what we were coming out of and going into, the uncertainty of the economy. What are you going to, you have to really want, because that's the thing, you can go to Disney as a family, and maybe, if you go, you go a family of, well, I'll just use like my family, for example. I have my parents, 2 brothers, me. So we're all married. So that's 8 adults. Yeah.
It adds up.
Well, just, it's 8 adults, and there will be, coming up soon, there will be 6
kids,
6 grandkids. Yeah. 6 kids. So we got 14 of us, right? So if we go do Disney, none of them are going to want to go do the Star Cruiser for 3 days. They're just not.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get my family, my wife and kids on board to do it. Most likely not. What they will do is they will go to Galaxy's Edge within Disney's park and get that little bit, because my parents, they watched Star Wars, my brother, they all watched it, but they're not fans enough to fully engross themselves
to invest $6,000 in 2 nights.
They're just not
3 nights and 2 days.
But they will go because part of it will be an experience of their kids drinking blue milk or doing some of the Star Wars rides. They know it. They enjoy the movies. They just don't dive as deep as we do.
Yeah.
So if that's your situation with your family, you're not going to go do. You have to be a very specific audience.
You're either super wealthy or you're a super dedicated fan. Or both.
even that though, you have to, you're either going to save up a ton, or you're super wealthy to where you can do it. But even still, you're not going to be just a fan and do it,
right,
unless you are the parent of a super fan who's like 12 years old, and then you'll do it.
Yeah, because seeing their reaction to everything would be alone worth the price of admission.
Well, mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you're right in what you said. I think the conceptual idea of having a Star Cruiser like hotel, like they need to figure out a way to bring something like this back and make it work and successful for everyone and affordable. Because I think
what would be kind of cool is, because they wanted to make it kind of like a cruise, type of scenario, right?
Yep.
Then make it a cruise.
Oh, like an actual ship.
I'm pretty sure Disney has, like, on their cruises, they have their own like private islands that they'll stop at. I think I've never done a Disney cruise, but
I'm sure they do. I know I've been on Norwegian and they had private. I think it's common for cruise liners to have private islands.
So they have like their own little private sections. Well, then create a cruise ship, and maybe it doesn't have windows, or however, I'm no engineer. I'm not gonna pretend to know how you design it, but the idea, if you want to run with it, is put them on a cruise ship, and now you've got a moving Star Cruiser, right? That'd be pretty. That'd be kind of pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you could have a fully immersed section. All right, now you're living
the inside section.
Yeah, you're living. You're living your life. Here we go. We're fully immersed, and then what happens? We landed at
whatever island.
Yeah,
which is
and give it a planet name. This is the planet. We're on Tatooine.
This is Scarif. This is Scarif.
We're at Scarif, and then we got Tattoo, and that's how And like if you're on that cruise for what do they do? 4 days, 3 nights, something like that.
There's many ranges that you can do.
Yeah. Like whatever you're doing, but you go hit up like 2 different planets where now all of a sudden you're gonna be out there. And because it's fully immersed, they can go do an entire like day's journey and keep the adventure going on that planet, and you don't have to worry about, oh god, we missed the boat. No, because you are on an adventure that's being run by members of the cruise, so they'll make sure, hey, this is timed out, like we're going to herd you back to, we'll make sure that you are back on the boat when we get ready to go. But now you've got that really fully immersed where Disney could build up something
for sure
pretty good on an island. You go there, now this is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, because the other thing you could do, which opens it up to, we were talking about, casual fans or like non-fans that, they're entertained by Star Wars, but wouldn't classify themselves as fans. You can set it up where like the outside spaces, meaning the deck where the pool is and stuff like that, that is not as Star Wars oriented. Maybe there's like some Star Wars themes to it and whatnot. There's a little bit of
it's not the fully immersed.
Right. It's not fully immersed. Like if you want to go spend your time on a cruise that's like sitting by the pool sunbathing, like that's there for you. Go do that. But all the internal stuff, where you usually have your casinos, your restaurants can be Star Wars themed. You have performance and shows that can be all Star Wars themed. You don't have a casino. Instead, you have like a saber building, thing, or a droid building thing, all of that stuff. And then you could build your saber or build your droid, and then they hold it, and then you pick it up when you're done with the cruise at the end, so you don't like lose it or break it or something like that.
You'd be able to take it back to your, to your room.
Oh yeah, or just take it back to your room.
But I mean, they could hold it for a period of time, and then you go pick it up at the end of the day or something. But no, I do think that where you could have it be kind of like a Star Wars-esque, figure out how to like design the the ship, but you would have a portion of it be the fully immersed section, and then and that's like a separate, so just rough numbers, for the cruise, $500 for the cruise, right? And I don't know if that's a decent price or not for.
Well, I think the cruise I went was a 3-night, 4-day, and it was like $350 to $400.
Okay, so you Disneyfy it, $500.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, something. So that's just for the cruise, and then you do an additional 150 for this fully immersed experience.
Yeah.
So you could have a family of 4, whatever, where 2 of them, the dad and the son, not really into Star Wars. The mom and the daughter loved it. Mom grew up wanting to be Leia. The daughter now
Rey.
pictures herself as Rey. Yeah, so they want to do it. The dad and the son, I don't want to do, like, all right, this, the lightsabers are cool, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, dad and son, you can go on the water slides. You're on the cruise, you can do it. And then for this portion of time, the mom and the daughter are going to, get immersed and, all right, hey, let's check this out, do this. Yeah. And, so you're on like the same deal, because maybe the fully immersed starts at 9 a.m. and goes until 3 p.m. Something along those lines. Right. After that, the family is still doing what the family wants. They can go do dinner. They can do whatever they want on their cruise. But during that time frame, the Star Wars fans can be fully immersed.
Yep.
The others, not so much. And I think that like that fully immersed is like fully immersed in like in like the mission and that.
Yeah.
But to keep them like fully immersed, like the staff would still like, hey, if it's 8 o'clock and you're walking and you're supposed to be, a rep, on the rebels side, and you have, the Empire, somebody on the Empire, hey man, you got to like duck. Cause then I think that'd still be kind of cool. Like the father and son can be like, all right, they're just walking like normal, but like the mom and daughter are like, all right, hold on, walking around like a hallway or whatever. So they're still involved while the others not so much. Like you're keeping it going, but it keeps the family together where they can do a family trip, do what they want, but certain portions are.
Yep. Well, and a lot of times with like trips or vacations, like it's the evening portions that become more of the family portions. People come together for dinner and maybe like a show afterwards and like that. And that's something that's very common on cruises. You have like shows, whether it's comedy shows or like game shows, or they had like the one we went on, they had like this dating show almost type of a thing. And because it's a Star Wars ship, you can keep it kind of Star Wars themed, but the actual, like, the comedy doesn't have to be specific to Star Wars. You can have them dress up like characters, but just do everyday comment, like have a Twi'lek giving any standard comedy that you would see at whatever show downtown. Like that's totally fine. That's almost more believable, versus everything being this, tongue-in-cheek Star Wars type joke or pun.
You get the Cantina band.
Exactly. There's things you can do.
Yep. I just think that, because when you think about Disney and you hear stories from people, like, they go with like a big family unit. Like, obviously, if there's only, the parents and their kids, easier to kind of herd that into, this is what we're doing. This. You go with a larger group, or, large group with the family, or even just friends. Hey, we got, 4 couples all go together. Well, the 4 couples aren't always going to want to do the same thing at the same time.
Right.
So provide them the options. When you think about going to Disney World, how many times, we're going to go hit up this ride, that ride. Okay. Lunch is at 12:30. We'll meet here.
Yep.
So everybody, woof, and you don't even see half your group until
lunch.
12:15. 12:30 for lunch. And then after that, it's okay, we're going here. Okay, remember, we have dinner at this time, so meet here. And that's how they do it. And nowadays with cell phones, if you want to meet up earlier than that, or hey, where are you guys at? Did you go on this ride yet? No, we haven't. All right, well, we'll meet over there in 10 minutes. So I think that's what they need to kind of look to do, is you're going to be able to get people onto a fully, into a fully immersed section, but you have to make sure it's priced right, because you're not going to get most likely you're not getting an entire family that wants to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think a cruise, especially because being able to hit up different planets, would add to the experience.
Oh, for sure. Do you know what I just want to see though? Like, we don't have to have like theme parks or anything. Like, can we just have like a Star Wars themed restaurant, like a franchise chain restaurant that you can go to? Like,
no,
bad example, but like Chuck E. Cheese, where you pop up, like, can there be like a Star Wars bar or something like that? I think those would do pretty well. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like if medieval times can work, like you can do that with Star Wars, in my opinion.
You have lightsaber battles.
Sure, you can have whatever you want. I'm not saying it has to be exactly like medieval times, but something that's like dinner and a show, or some kind of event, or just even a bar that you can go to, and maybe it plays like cantina style music, and it's got like that Galaxy's Edge vibe in terms of like everything in the bar or restaurant is Star Wars themed, for just, some kind of experience, because not everyone's going to be able to go to Florida.
No, but I think the problem is that like you make a bar then what, it's the same, discussion that we just had. What era do you focus on? Is the bar just overall in general Star Wars themed? Are you focused on the original trilogy? Are you focused on the prequels, Clone Wars, Rebels?
Well, if you franchise it, you can have each section dedicated to a few. Or what you can also do, if it's like a bar or a restaurant, you can always change it. You can have the set, like Galaxy's Edge was always there in terms of like the universe of Star Wars. Like I'm reading the Thrawn trilogy book right now, and the second Thrawn book takes place in Batuu, the outpost in Batuu, which is what Galaxy's Edge is, at two different times, at the prequel era and at the OT era. So it's like that place was there. So let's say 1 week is original trilogy, the next week is prequel trilogy, the next week is sequel trilogy. You can use the same staff and they just portray different characters at different times. Like, you can do things like that. With the Star Cruiser, you really can't. You really have to focus on one thing because you're investing so much money on the things around you that you kind of have to stick to what's there. But you don't have to do that with like a restaurant or a bar setting. And probably easier said than done. Maybe I'm thinking there's far more Star Wars fans out there than there actually are. I don't know, but I just think like if something like Medieval Times can last as long as it has, something for Star Wars in but when you think about capacity,
like if you look up like Medieval Times, like where it's at, I mean,
they're in Dallas, Chicago,
but it's like, which is interesting that it's in.
But I can like travel to Chicago. Like I can take a weekend trip, visit Chicago, and spend an evening at that place.
Chicago, Atlanta, Baltimore, Buena Park, California, Chicago, Dallas, Lyndhurst, New Jersey, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Orlando.
There was one in Myrtle Beach and we didn't go. Son of
a. Maybe I don't know when did it open. Maybe it wasn't open when
it might not, because I don't remember seeing it there. But have you been to a Medieval Times?
I have. I was down the one
in Chicago.
No, which is not even in Chicago. It's in Schaumburg, Illinois. Sure. Liars. It's just outside of Chicago. But no, I went to the one down in Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was at.
What's that?
I was just going to say, I've been to the one in Dallas and it was freaking awesome. Again, similar. It's not in Dallas. It's on the outskirts of Dallas, but
they have one I went to Arabian Nights, a dinner and show. That one awesome. Was interesting.
I just remember, have you met my mom's mom?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They're the ones that live in Dallas. And so she's like super religious and not really like intense or anything. And we brought my grandma and grandpa to a Medieval Times show one time. And my grandma was getting into it more than anyone else. She was like, you get that, like you stab that. And we're like, whoa, grandma.
Hey man, it's just a goof.
It's just a show.
No, that was apparently the Arabian Nights town in Orlando is no longer. It's been closed since 2014. Okay. I went down there in college. And got lit. Like we were on a school trip. And so like it was like a business club. So like we had like everybody there or whatever. And man, just lit. Like I ended up buying like a cowgirl hat that which was weird because it was Arabian. Of course you did. Dude, it had like the frills and like had like a little tiara that lit up. And so like I saw that and I was like, I gotta get this.
That sounds about right.
I bought that. I mean, this was like the first night that we were down there. So I got this like light up, cowgirl hat. I wore that the rest of the because we had the competitions, and I didn't wear it during. I was dressed up. I was during that, but beyond that, I mean, we were down there for like a week, and I had 3 or 4 times where I had to be like, there were a couple of like conferences. So like one day was like full like guest speaker conferences, and then you had some competitions where you had to go. But beyond that, like we were at the resort just hanging out. So I was at the pool. Man, I'd be rocking that hat. And people, Greg, what the? I'm like, you like it?
Don't worry about it.
Case of beer and that. Oh man, that was we had good times.
Just living the life.
Oh yeah, that hat, that thing was.
That's
that
awesome.
Thing was awesome. But yeah, it was from Arabian Nights, and because it was me and a couple buddies. We just kept drinking. Nobody stopped us. So
that's awesome.
But now Arabian Nights apparently is closed. I was like, all right, whatever.
Well, and now when I think of medieval times, all I can think of is the movie Cable Guy. And then can I get some silverware? And the waitress is like, yeah, well, in medieval times they didn't have silverware, so at medieval times we don't have any silverware. Now, can I get you a refill on that Pepsi? And then he's like, they didn't have silverware, but they had Pepsi. That's all I can think. And then Jim Carrey's like,
he's got the chicken skin.
Yeah. Finally, hello, Clarice. It's good to see you again.
Dude, that one was. I remember our guy won. We were the Green Knight. Like, how old was I? 10.
One time, I've been where our guy won, and I've been where our guy was the runner-up.
Yeah. No, see, I only went the one time, and we had I wanted there was like a black and white night.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted him so bad.
Yeah.
Our section was the Green Knight, and I was like, the Green Knight, man, this guy's good, man.
But he won.
Oh, he won. Yeah, he won it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he come back? Like, I remember where our guy won. He lost like early on, but then like this Black Knight arrived to like fight the champion or whatever. And the Black Knight defeated the champion, and the Black Knight was our knight in disguise. I was like, that's Cinderella story, man. Did they have a torture chamber at the one you went to that you could go tour?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're all kind of built the same. Yeah, I just
probably.
But yeah, I don't remember our the Green Knight may have been a Black Knight that came back to win it all. Like I just know that our guy ended up winning it all. That's what I remember.
I wonder if it's like every customer's night actually wins. And you're like, even though they have different sections, it's all like part of the staff. They fill in those sections to be like cheering for that night. But the only like tickets they sell are the ones for the winning night. Probably not, but
I don't know, man. I was going to say, man, that'd be
a loss of money.
Yeah. But no, it was, good times.
But yeah, do something like that for Star Wars. I'll go. That can be a saber dueling fights or something like that.
That'd be tough though.
It would be
because I mean, you think about it, like pirate, because there's a pirate show. Arabian Nights is gonna, with horses and everything. It's gonna be cool because that's the other thing. It's like pirates. I think that's on like flooded water. I mean, they do that like basically in like a pool, and that's kind of a cool deal. And then you have horses on. With Arabian Nights, they had it, and medieval times, so you can do that, and everybody has this vision of like every little boy envisions at some point a pirate or being a knight and
knight in shining armor,
and I mean girls, same thing, pirates and knights and horses and everything. That whole deal taps into
it's a little more open-ended.
Yeah, at some point in your life, that's going to tap in. So kids are going to love it. Star Wars,
it's a little more niche.
Yeah, like I don't see, medieval times with horses and that. I could see my niece going to that. Star Wars dinner and a show. I don't see her going to it.
Not yet, at least.
No,
yet.
But yeah, so there's that. So it's like, all right, well, you kind of figure it out.
Little history lesson. talking about this made me think of the Colosseum. Did you know that they actually used to flood the Colosseum
and have big ship
mock ship battles? Like, how cool is that? I mean, probably terrifying if you're in the audience, but straight cannonball.
I just think, the crazy thing that I think of is the engineering at that time to be able to, because I mean, it was opened.
Yeah.
All the other times it was like open. How do you close enough of the Colosseum to be able to flood it without it leaking?
Yeah, it was, they had a plumbing system in the undercarriage. So all the animals and all the gladiators were housed underneath and they would come up. When they had those water battles, they would flood that portion of it and then, have the battles. But they say that engineers of that time far exceed the capabilities of engineers today. Even though the technology wasn't obviously as great, but what they were able to do with the technology of the time is far greater than what engineers of today can do with the capabilities.
The
today.
Ratio.
Yeah. Like the aqueduct systems that they had back then, like
the bridges with like the arches.
Oh yeah.
To know that that's gonna be more stable and stronger.
They had better builders then than they had today. Although we just had better technology.
Have you seen some I've seen like some podcasts, and who knows whether it's conspiracy theories or what, but that there were like technology basically from there was like the synopsis is that like years and years ago, I don't know the exact thousands, 100,000, millions or whatever, but the planet like got to a level of technology that would kind of rival where we're at now.
Oh, really?
Like there were advanced technologies that were able to build these structures and create what we now see as as some of the artifacts.
Sure.
And then something happened. Something happened that like a nuclear bomb, like basically just wiped out everything, reverted us back to the Stone Age, and now we are basically in like version 2.0, where we went from Stone Age, all the way up to where we are now. But realistically, some of the things that we see as historical were created by a whole nother civilization that had this. So when we look back and go, how did they do this? How were they with this primitive method? How were they weren't as primitive as we have been led to believe our whole lives. And it's
so are you saying those theories, so that event didn't take place between like the fall of Rome and the Dark Ages? This took place before like the Stone Age, and essentially was a time of civilization before our current time of civilization.
There was there were things that were built and technology that was achieved before we really understand. So it's just a lot of the advances in how did they do this? Well, they had the technology, and then something catastrophic happened that reverted us back. We lost all of that knowledge, which maybe it was at the Library of Alexandria. Maybe, and that's maybe all the blueprints were there, and that's why we're screwed. But I don't know. But that's I've seen it on a few. I know I saw it with Joe Rogan talking with one of his guests.
Sure.
And so like I say, it could be. I'm not calling Joe Rogan or his guest fringe conspiracy theory, but I haven't looked into it enough to fully know. It sounds on its face, it sounds like conspiracy theory,
right?
But I also wouldn't be surprised to find out that it's true, because there are certain phenomenons of the past that just can't be explained.
Right.
Like there are engineering feats that you're just there's no way.
Man, we are about to dive into a huge rabbit hole, and I absolutely love it. It's not really Star Wars related, but maybe because Star Wars
it
has
is
such
though, because
vastly,
if we didn't get screwed over by whatever catastrophic event happened that reverted us,
we
back
could
to
be
the
a
Stone
living
Age.
Star Wars.
Mother.
But I remember I took a astronomy. I always get this mixed up. Astronomy or astrology? Astrology is like reading the stars, and astronomy is the history or is the study of space, right? Or is astronomy? Yeah,
Astronomy.
because astronomy is like what's
the branch of science that deals with celestial objects, space, and the physical universe as a whole.
okay, that one. So, I took a course on that in college, and I remember my professor was talking. Well, he said a few things that really stood in my mind, or really that my mind absorbed. And one of them was like, we have no real idea. We have the Big Bang, and there's the theory that the galaxy. There's different theories of that. Like one, the galaxy or the universe keeps expanding and expanding, expanding. Another one is that the universe expands, 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 and then at some point it will just like plateau and then just exist at that size for an extended period of time. Then there's another theory where the Big Bang happens and everything expands, 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 and then it reverts and it contracts and contracts and contracts and contracts until it's nothing again, and then it restarts again. Big Bang, and it essentially going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And in one way or another, the history of the universe keeps recycling. So like everything we're doing today, one way or another, has been done before. And that's kind of goes along with like string theory, how there's like multiple universes stacked up, like infinite possibilities out there. For every action you do, there's an infinite other option or actions that you could have done. And in that infinite amount of actions, there's another universe that exists. So kind of on the theory of that. So to your point, maybe there was a previous,
during this phase,
during that
and
first,
when it went,
yep. And now we're just redoing it again.
That,
who knows?
And we're finding remnants of the previous, before it came back.
Yeah.
Man.
And a lot more stuff to that I only my professor could like speak to, but
it just,
I mean, it's an expansive universe out there. There's endless opportunities or things that, like, have you ever wondered, like, what if in a split second, like something massively huge out in the universe just comes shooting by in like the speed of light and just like obliterates like the Earth, and we would never see it coming? Like, how do we know something out there doesn't exist? How do we know space whales from Rebels doesn't exist or something like that?
Are you insinuating that a Death Star is lining us up?
Maybe. Who knows? Who's to say there isn't?
Because somebody won't give up a base somewhere.
Yeah.
Is this what you're telling me?
Yeah. Well, that makes me think
Obi-Wan's gonna hear me scream out.
There's only one way to find out, Greg.
I gotta find Obi-Wan.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to do the screaming, but maybe I could hear the scream.
But my professor also said something else, and that really stood out was, so we invest this money with our like our space industry and everything, like NASA and whatnot, trying to see if life exists out there and like communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
He said that the probability of life or intelligent life existing out somewhere else is like, it's more unlikely that life doesn't exist or intelligent life doesn't exist than it does exist. So something's out there. No, he's like, they probably just are so intelligent enough to see that there's no benefit to contact us. I mean, if you think about it, like we send out this message that our technology, it takes light years to get to like the closest star. Like the closest star is like 5 light years away or something like that. And that's just a message that's essentially saying, hello, we're here. And then it's going to take that much time for us to be able to receive a response back. Like once someone gets it and interprets it and builds the technology to respond back, like the conversation, it's like a text message conversation that takes millennium to have the actual full conversation. So other intelligent life is probably like, meh, we're not going to respond. Like we don't care. So,
hey man, you see Earth? I sent them a message 15 light years ago. Still haven't heard from them.
They're catfishing me, man.
I'm done. I'm out.
Or it's one message, you up? No.
There's just, I mean, there's gotta be more to like the universe and what we're at. And to think that we are the most intelligent life form in the universe.
Nope.
Pretty egotistical, because we're like, just look around.
I'm just going to say, it doesn't take people within our own Earth to look at us and be like, man, we're not always intelligent all the time. Or like, why do we have the problems that we do? I mean, there's got to be something more intelligent out there.
Well, I just look at, if we're so intelligent and we've got, the scientists and everything telling us how vast the universe is, and we can't, like my big thing, people talk about UFO sightings, right? And I've never seen one or confirmed seen one. But if they do exist, if there are UFOs coming, other life forms, they have the technology to get to us. We don't have the technology to get to them.
Do we want them?
So that right there tells me they're a more advanced society than we are.
Oh yeah.
Like we can't even get to Mars. We haven't really even tried to get back to the moon.
We've landed on the moon.
Like,
it's incredible. I'm quoting Dumb and Dumber right now.
Spoiler alert. But it just, like, the advances that we've taken and subsequently recently feels like we've reverted back from some of those advances, just isn't enough to kind of tell me, and if we are this, like the top of the universal food chain, then then your professor's probably wrong, and there probably isn't a lot of intelligent life out there.
I have to imagine we're not the apex of intelligent life out there.
But kind of to your point, just let them live. They're not ready for, they're not ready for this.
Right. Well, and not only that, like if they're intelligent enough to like be aware of us and have these thoughts, they probably value, or they probably realize there's no value that we can contribute to them, or that they can contribute to us, because they would probably think our technology is so advanced and they're so messed up as like a world and society that they would literally destroy themselves if they knew what we knew.
Yeah, they would destroy, they would destroy themselves, or they would figure out a way somehow to use this technology to destroy us and others within the universe. So let's just leave them on their island thinking
they'll be on their own petri dish. Their ant farm, let them live. We'll be innocent bystanders. We might observe because, hey, it's kind of entertaining, but we're not getting involved.
Yep. Abduct one or two every so often. If they start getting a little too intelligent, we're just going to pluck them.
For their own history reports, because we do the same, whether it's like for animals or, plants or other species. Maybe they're just doing science research on people.
Could be. Yep. So if you haven't been abducted, you're an idiot. I'm an idiot. I have not been abducted. So.
So the what's his face, the crop duster from Independence Day was not an idiot. because he was abducted.
No, genius.
I mean, he did save the world in that movie, so
told you, genius.
Well, now that we've gone on a huge, complete tangent / rabbit hole, and I see we're at 84 minutes. Ooh, wow, we made that last a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Well done.
It was like
So
it was like a Seinfeld episode.
I
Though.
know.
84 minutes at just
nothing. Hey, we had a good portion of Star Wars related content in there. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And as we wrap this up, the only other thing I kind of want to put it out there as it related to Star Wars, I mean, we've gotten a few more insight about the 3 movies that they're looking to actually release. I feel confidence that we will get at least 2 of these 3 movies. I think that Rey one is definitely going to happen. Like, I know they said like the Skywalker saga has been complete, but if you're bringing a Rey movie, the Skywalker saga is not complete because she proclaimed herself to be a Skywalker. I think that movie is going to happen.
Not Skywalker, she's Palpatine.
No, I agree. But would you think that movie is going to happen? Do you have faith that movie
Rey?
will? Yeah, the Rey movie.
Yeah, I do.
And then I feel like at least one of the other 2, the Dave Filoni movie, I think will happen too, because that's the culmination of the shows that they have. That's that Marvel Infinity War movie that they're looking to have.
Yeah,
that one's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more likely than the Rey one, actually.
I think so.
So I have confidence that those 2 will happen. The other one is the Dawn of the Jedi movie. So kind of before even Old Republic, this is when Jedi are first being introduced to the Star Wars universe. I have confidence that movie will happen, but not as much as the other 2. But with all the news circulating on that, what are you feeling about these movies? I know there was that little piece revealed that rumor has it both Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen will be reprising their roles in the Rey movie. What do you think about that? Has to be Force Ghosts, right? They're going to be like training figures for Rey.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be. I mean, how they're both the characters are dead.
Right.
Although
you hear their voices speaking to Rey.
Yeah.
When she's fighting Palpatine, and obviously you saw the Force Ghost of Mark Hamill. But I think that'd be pretty cool and a good idea, because you can get Luke Skywalker with his father, Anakin Skywalker, on good terms in the same movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No, I think that it would have to be a Force Ghost, kind of like at the end of
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. So I think you'd have to, you would have to do that.
Throw Yoda.
I don't know in what context you'd really bring them back.
Has to be some sort of training, because I think what
the other thing though is, if you're doing Force Ghosts, do they then bring, via like deep fake or like the technology, do they bring Leia?
You could, but I don't know if her training got to the point where she learned that Force capability. Maybe she did.
Leia?
Yeah. I don't know.
She was able to fly through space. Come on.
True.
Yeah.
True. But then do you bring in what's his face for Qui-Gon Jinn? Because now that we know from Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was a Force Ghost.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. Qui-Gon doesn't directly factor into Rey's story.
Well, I take back what I said earlier. We do know Leia becomes a Force Ghost because of the end of Rise of Skywalker. She's standing there with Luke. Right?
She is, but are they Force Ghosts, or is that just a vision?
That's
that Rey. But even still, you could, you could bring that back as a Vision, without him being Force Ghost, she just kind of sees him. It'd be interesting to see.
I just don't know.
It is cool to see them, come back. I don't know the context.
I don't know where this film would go. I mean, it would almost have to be a trilogy, right? Because what are you going to do in a single movie knowing what happened? Because Rise of Skywalker kind of wrapped the whole thing in a bow where it was supposed to.
Yeah.
So now you're not going to have a movie without a conflict. Like, what are you going to do? Just have this movie be specifically about training Jedi and that's it? Probably not that interesting.
Well, so who's still around from Rise of Skywalker?
Well, I think John Boyega will be reprising his
Finn.
He'll be back. We don't know about the other characters. So far, what we know is Daisy Ridley will be reprising Rey.
Mm-hmm.
We know John Boyega will be reprising Finn. I have to believe they are going to finally turn him into a Force-sensitive trainee. A lot of things happened in the sequel trilogy that gave evidence that he was Force-sensitive.
They gotta, they have to level set his character. They screwed him over.
Absolutely.
From where he was Force Awakens. I mean, the trajectory he was on in Force Awakens just completely destroyed in The Last Jedi.
Yep. And I'm going to say he was one of the best actors in The Force Awakens.
Oh, it was fantastic. I loved his character.
He was one of the most interesting characters in that movie.
Rey was supposed to be the main character.
Yep.
Okay. Poe, the comedic relief, and just
he was all right, but just not that interesting. In my opinion.
Obviously, then you had for nostalgia with Leia and Han.
Yep.
Kylo Ren, the bad guy, has to be. But yeah, John Boyega, Finn was really like the first. He, as the movie went along, I think he was the first character that you really got invested in.
Yeah.
For me, at least, it was him more so than Rey. Like, okay, she's waiting for her parents. I'm waiting for my parents. It's been 17 years. They ain't coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So,
well, and just the fact that, I mean, you go to that scene where they're attacking that town and he's still a stormtrooper. And then he kind of comes to, and he's looking around. He's like, what's going on? And, that to me was this indication that he's different from all the other stormtroopers. And that could be the Force sensitivity. But right away in that situation, you're like, what caused him to do this? What caused him to have this realization?
Yeah.
And then as the movie plays out, you get invested in his character. He meets Poe, he meets Rey, and then he wields a freaking lightsaber. So you get the symbolism of a lightsaber is for a Jedi and he's wielding it. The only other character we had in movies that wielded a lightsaber was Han Solo, and that was just to cut open a tauntaun.
That was, and it didn't feel like the lightsaber was overpowering Finn.
Right. No, he had it.
I think that, because at times, with Kylo, it felt like, the lightsaber would overpower. He wasn't in full control of the lightsaber at times, is I think what they were kind of trying to project with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
At least that was what I kind of grabbed. Finn, when he had it and he's, right, he is in full control. And, to your point, Force, all, full faculties, he is in, he's tapping into the Force.
Yep.
And that was a storyline that I felt could have led to really good cinema. And they just
ruined it in The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Well, they just brushed it under, and we could go on, into that rabbit hole, but it felt like you had a way to, to tell two really, really interesting stories, and with Finn and with Rey.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Rey's story ends up being just as interesting, but later developed in that movie. But then when you look at the sequel trilogy as a whole, it was actually Kylo Ren or Ben Solo's character that became the most fascinating one in the whole trilogy. But maybe this movie will redeem John Boyega's character, bring him in as a force sensitive character, get a lightsaber of his own, and he'll become a Jedi. Because I think what we do know is that this is Rey building a whole new school of Jedi. But like, what is the conflict going to be? And it's going to be something that's going to set later content to come. I don't think it's just going to be one snapshot movie that you get, a conflict and resolution right away. It's going to be something that's going to be play out, whether it's a trilogy or future shows.
Yeah. Well, I know Captain Phasma is, like, I think she was, she's dead. So like that's
she's gone.
Yeah. So that won't, that nothing will come from that. Yeah, I don't know who you end up getting as the
somehow Palpatine returns. No, just kidding. No, I don't know, but it's got to be something.
Yeah.
But looking forward to those films.
Oh, definitely.
And I like I said, I think I know I have faith that we will get some of those. Probably the first one I think is supposed to be 2025. So. All right. Well, before we jump off, I know you've seen the first episode of Vision's Sith, and Dustin hadn't seen any of them yet, so I didn't really want to talk about them with him on. But I kind of went through episode by episode in our last attention block podcast episode. Anything you want to say on the first episode, Sith from Visions?
Overall, I thought it was very entertaining. Slow start, and I'm not a huge fan of anime or like the style in which Visions is done.
Focus on art and everything.
Yeah, it just
animated. Well, you're okay with animated because Rebels. And
like the animated is fine. It's just like the way in which it just like when like the way that the Sith that Sith started. I was looking at it. I was like, this feels like it's like a storyboard. Like I didn't fully understand. I was like, when you're looking at it and it's not fully completed, you're like, what is it? Like I get it. It's like you want to give like an artistic take on the matter, but it's like what is this nonsense? Like and then like I say, as the story went on and it gets more filled in and you understand, oh, this is why. Oh, all right, this is a pretty good story. And then so overall I thought it was good. As in terms of Visions episodes, it wasn't the best one. Definitely wasn't the worst, but it felt like a good start to the season. We'll see how the remaining episodes, when I get a chance to watch those, how those are. But overall, like I say, I thought it was an enjoyable show or episode.
Just wait for the next one. It's really good. And hold on, I got to take a time out really quick. I know we're live, so bear with us. You get to watch Greg for a little bit, but we've been going so long that I have to have a little restroom break. So
unbelievable.
Are you used to anything else with me though?
That's true.
As I knock everything over. And we're back.
There you go.
All right. Sorry, I think I cut you off a little bit there.
No,
But I did say like Visions, the second episode, probably my favorite one. I just feel like there is a different element than what we're used to with Star Wars. It's almost like horror film, not horror film, but like scary.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Very dark, but still animated. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what you think of when you watch it or the rest of the episodes. I think what I was saying before we jumped on is I don't think there was one bad episode in this season. There weren't many great ones. They were all like good. They were all decently good. But the first three were probably better than the rest of them, in my opinion. So, but the Wallace and Gromit one, you gotta love, because your expectations are already at a certain level for that one. You're like, it's not going to be this like intense.
Yeah, it's Wallace and Gromit. Yeah.
It's going to be more comical, but a good message in that story as well. So it was pretty good. But I mean, not all of them are anime. I know they kind of open themselves up to more art styles versus just anime for this season. What I really loved was like the cultural influence for the different episodes, because all these production companies are from different countries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that played out for the first season. I can't remember, or first volume, but like you've got this one that's more like Middle Eastern themed. I think Screecher's Reach was more, was it Ireland or Scotland or something like that? So everyone's got like a Scottish or Irish accent. But they play into the culture of where the episodes originated from in terms of the production companies. And it's pretty fascinating. And it just shows you that Star Wars is, open to everyone and just, so immersive. So I thought that was pretty cool. And hey, I mean, all the episodes are short. So I think it's like 2.5 hours if you just sat down and watch all of them. So it's like the amount of time of a feature film that you can push through it. So, all right. So anything else we want to talk? I'm not going to go into, we haven't received all the polls yet for our most recent bracket challenge. So I will save that for next week. Anything else you want to speak to, Greg?
No.
Well, I'll just go over our social media handles really quick. So you can find us on Detention Block AA23 pod, on Instagram at detention_block_AA_23. And then our Facebook group and YouTube channels, Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. Bring us your likes, follows, comments, click those subscription buttons. Reviews go a long way. All of that stuff we greatly appreciate. It helps us get our podcast name out there. And again, we're on episode 75. So building our repertoire up here a little bit.
There we go.
We've been around almost 2 years. I think we started in August.
Yeah.
So in August, we will be reaching year number 2. Maybe we'll hit our 100th episode around that time. Probably a little after that, but we're getting close.
That's it, dude. It's 25. Well, we're at 75 right now.
We're at 75. We've been a little more consistent this year, at least having one, sometimes more than one episode a week. So Greg's calculating, doing the math.
So if we stick to one episode a week for, keep going, November 15th would be the 25th.
Okay.
Or would be our 100th.
So that's a quarter of a year after our 2-year anniversary. 3 months later.
roughly. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. But at the same time, with 3 of the 4 hosts having children in the next couple of weeks, the number of episodes we spit out might dwindle for at least a temporary amount of time. But
yeah,
we will continue to do whatever that is we can to keep bringing content, especially when the new shows when Ahsoka comes out. I do want to make sure that we're at least providing something for those episodes. But again, we'll do what we can.
Yeah,
Greg's got 1 week. I've got about 3 weeks.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, yeah, if everything goes according to plan, but there's no plan or timing when it comes to baby.
Are they, so they have a planned, inducement or no?
All the doctor has told us is that she will not let her go like 2 weeks beyond the due date. So,
so she's not even. Yeah, because that was like, even with with Everly, well, I think that may have been because of the gestational diabetes. Now that I think about it, but both had scheduled inducement dates. Yeah, and they were like, my daughter was 2 or 3 days before her due date was when we went in there, so pretty much right on due date. And then this is like a week before. But yeah, so it wasn't we'll just let it play out how it plays out. No, this was, unless the kid got another idea and comes before, this is the date we're going in.
Yeah, I would say that June 27th would probably be the date that Colleen would be induced if baby hasn't been born yet.
Yeah.
So
you just gotta let it, just let it sit in there and chill and like marinate, man. I'd be going in there and be like, get out here.
I know Colleen wants the baby delivered as close to that June 13th date as possible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she feels super uncomfortable right now, but she's such a planner. Like, she has it in her head that June 13th is the date. So she wants June 13th to be the date. And it's like, it's likely not going to go according to plan, sweetheart.
Yeah. Well, that's, we have, like now my wife, Chris definitely wants May 31st because daughter is May 13th. So she goes, how cool would that be? 513, 531. I was like, whatever. Yeah.
But now she's got that stuck in her head, so she wants it, right?
Well, I look at like, if this, the fact that we're going to be in there at midnight, we're checking in midnight, May 31st. If that kid ain't out by midnight, June 1st, yeah. Like I'm going to be like, yo, doc, you're getting me in the doghouse and I'm not even doing anything. Like somehow it's going to be my fault that this kid, decided to, take 24 hours or so.
It's always our fault, Greg.
Oh, I know that, but yeah, so we'll see how it all plays out.
Are Gma and Gpa watching Everly when this is all happening?
They got Hurry on the dogs.
Nice.
So yeah, on Tuesday, on the 30th, we're gonna go over. We'll go over to their house. Like we'll pick her up from daycare and then go over there for like dinner or whatnot. And maybe Chris can crash. We'll probably try to crash for like a few hours. Like whenever he goes down to bed, maybe we go crash for a couple hours, get up, and then make our way over, to the hospital, get checked in, because it's midnight. So it's like, well, you can only do so much. But yeah, so they're gonna have her on Wednesday, and and with the dogs, we had that's one of the things that I don't know how you guys have it set, but that is logistically when you're going, all right, how the heck do we got the freaking dog, like, because that was the in-laws, they were, well, if you need us to watch Everly, and it was like, I appreciate the offer, but like it's not just Everly. Like we got the, you're gonna have to take the 2 dogs too. Like,
yeah.
We can't just let them sit at home.
Right.
Someone's got to watch them. And so yeah, my parents, they're fine with having them. So we lucked out that way. But
yeah, my mother-in-law is going to watch our 2 dogs. The cat can take care of itself for, I mean, we go for weekend trips and leave the cat at home. The cat is self-sufficient.
That's you put enough food out there to kind of last. They monitor it themselves, food, water, and the
litter box.
Sure the litter box is clean. Yeah, cats good to go. But dogs a little bit more than that.
A little different story with that.
One of the nice things though is now that COVID's over and everything is starting to kind of relax, we'll be able to have visitors. Depending on how long we're up at the hospital, we'll be able to actually have visitors come up. So
yeah,
I think I don't know exactly when, but I think my parents are planning on at some point, depending on how everything goes, get up there and bring the daughter up to visit, meet her brother and do all that. But settle part will be really kind of cool. So
yeah. Well, what
Chris
we'll have
looking for it to be done.
What we'll have to do. So in July, we're gonna look to, bring baby down to Wisconsin and spend time with the family. We'll have to look to get the little ones together and meet for the first time and everything in July. So
yeah. You guys still aren't finding out, eh?
We've held strong.
No, and that's but that's where it's do you really want to wait for 2 weeks after, like due June 13th, man? If the kid's not out by June 14th, you're get it out there.
Yeah, I mean,
what are you
really? The only reason we want the child to prolong as long as possible, and when I say as long as possible, I mean 40 weeks. I don't mean 42 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Is to coincide with the schedule that we're planning for daycare. Because if I don't want baby to come early, because then that's that much earlier we have to start daycare, and we're planning it so we don't have to start daycare until after the first of the year. So if we can keep to that timing, it's
after
ideal.
the first, she gets like 6 months.
She gets 4 months. So she's taken the full it's not all paid. I think she gets 6 weeks of it paid, either 6 or 8 weeks paid, but she's going to take the full 4 months that she gets. And then I have 4 weeks paid leave that I'm going to initiate at the end of her leave. And then that brings us to I think early
5 months would be like November, December.
Yeah, November, December. And then I'm going to use vacation time to prolong that. And then we're hitting holiday time. So then trying to figure something out with work, or maybe I take a week unpaid vacation so that we just hold over till the new year type of thing. So
yeah.
But
man, we got ours going at 6 weeks.
What, your daycare?
Oh yeah. We did it with our daughter too. At about 6, she was about 6, 7 weeks, because our daycare will take them as young as 6 weeks.
Yep.
So it was, she was 6, between 6 and 8 weeks old, actually. No, about I think 7 weeks old, something like that. It was early July, July 8th, or whatever. So we did that, and so that's same thing we're gonna end up doing, with this go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's more her sporadic scheduling with my ability to work from home that we're trying to, makeshift something that we could last until the new year. So, but it's not up to our plan. It's up to the baby's plan. So we'll just see what life throws at us and kind of audible.
Yeah.
As they say in the term of things. So,
well, yeah.
But all of that to say that our episode releases or our scheduling for the podcast might be a little more sporadic, not as consistent for the upcoming month or so, being with all the due dates that we have. And then his second child will be due a little later on from ours. So,
or what it will be, we'll just it'll be like rapid fire, where it's like, hey, instead of like one long like 90-minute, we're like, all right, hey, you guys got like 20 minutes,
let's jump on. Hey, and maybe we do that.
Just hit it. Just hit it with, instead of one
in between the baby nap schedules.
Instead of one, we just kind of hit them like, all right, we're gonna do like a Sunday night, a Wednesday night.
Well, how much leave or how much time are you taking? Any time off?
A couple weeks or so.
Couple weeks.
It's gonna be concurrent with like with Chris. Like she's doing 6, but like those first couple. But then I mean I can work from home to to help a little and nap. But so
because I'm taking 2 to 3 weeks vacation, not leave, just vacation when the baby's born, just for the transition. So maybe there'll be a time where it's like 3 a.m. that we're both up and we'll just jump on and be like, hey, let's talk about Star Wars that has nothing to do with our lives right now.
I'll probably be back at work, but now I might be up at that point.
Right.
No, we'll see. But it's a transition. It'll be fun though. Yeah.
Well, I think it's fun that we all three will have little ones around the same age that we will be able to share experiences. I mean, I know it's both of yours second child, but still we'll have, overlapping stories that we can share with. So,
all
right. Well,
and it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see whether you're going to have a little boy or girl. What are you thinking?
Boy,
you thinking it's a Luke or a Leia?
Luke.
That's what you're feeling.
I'll tell you what.
Or did you peek?
No, I didn't peek. I didn't peek. I honest to God, I have no idea. But I won't say my whole life, but a majority of my life, I always thought my first child would be a daughter. So I had always been planning for that one way or another. But ever since probably a couple of weeks into the pregnancy, I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like this is a boy.
Yeah.
On top of that, Colleen is kind of leaning on the side of a boy. And everyone that not everyone, but probably like 80% of the people, 90% of the people that are talking to her say it's a boy. And I know there's no real way to tell or predict. It's just, I don't know, what everyone's been feeling.
Yeah.
I know there's some like wives' tales, like if you carry a baby low, it's a boy. Low heart rate or lower heart rate, it's a boy. All those things are, coinciding with Colleen's experience as well too. So you're looking up stuff. What are you looking up? Are you looking up wives' tales for?
Yeah.
I figured it. I saw you pop onto your screen. So. Because they say like lower heart rate, so like 120s to like 130s.
Well, your baby's heart, 23 signs you're having a boy.
Yeah. Because your
baby's heartbeat is lower than 140 beats per minute.
We were at 125.
You're carrying all out front.
Yep. She's carrying front and low.
You're carrying low. You're blooming in pregnancy. She got any flowers on her?
She's a flower in general.
You didn't suffer from morning sickness in your first trimester.
She hasn't thrown up.
So yeah. See, now that's weird because Chris didn't have morning sickness with Everly, but she did for like the first, like in this first trimester, but she did on this one. But this one's a boy. I've seen the proof. They pointed it out multiple times.
The exception to the rule.
Your right breast is bigger than your left. Yeah, good luck running that test on a pregnant woman.
Oh, I thought you meant mine.
You look at yourself in the mirror for at least a minute and your pupils dilate.
What?
Okay. You crave salty food or protein such as cheese and meat. I'm having a boy.
That, I mean, she really hasn't had many cravings, but she's eaten more salty food lately, that's for sure.
Your feet become cold more quickly than before you were pregnant.
She's cold often, but yeah.
You tie your, if you tie your wedding ring to some thread, hang it over your stomach, it moves in circles.
I've heard that one.
Your skin becomes dry. You combine your age at the time of conception with the number of the month you conceived, and the resulting number is even.
Okay. So 37 plus 10 or no. When did
she? Yeah, she turned. Yeah. Wait, no, she's 35. Nope, that's not right. Because Chris is 30. Wait, no, when she conceived at time, she was 34 and it was August.
September.
Oh, wait, no, what was it? August? Maybe it was September. It may have been September. Yeah, I'm full of crap.
So September is what? That's 9. And she was 37. So that's even.
What?
Because her birthday's in August.
Oh, August of 85.
Yeah, she's like a couple months older than you.
Man, she is robbing the crate. August.
Yeah, cougar.
August is more than a couple months. It's like it's almost half a year.
Yeah, from December. I mean,
yeah, it's 12 to 8. I mean, that's a quarter of a year.
It's more than a quarter. It's a third.
Yeah. Let's see here. Your hair has become more full-bodied and shiny during pregnancy. The hair on your legs has been growing faster during pregnancy. Once again, good luck testing that one out.
She has commented that she's shaved her legs less since being pregnant.
You are more prone to headaches.
Yep.
Well, my wife gets
my wife. Yeah, my wife gets headaches all the time. So.
Your pillow faces north when you sleep. Okay.
Well, no, because our house faces north. And our bed, it runs perpendicular to where our house faces. So I don't know how that happens.
You're asked to show your hands. You present them palms down.
Who does that?
No.
Can I see your hands?
I don't know. You lie on your left side when sleeping.
Yeah, she does that.
Your urine is bright yellow.
I have no idea.
You were the more aggressive partner during lovemaking when you conceived.
Who's you, the mother or the father?
It's got to be the mother. Yeah. You eat a clove of garlic and the smell seeps out of your pores. You got anything to keep the vampires away.
Who eats a clove of garlic?
Your previous child's first word was dada. Yeah, we got that one.
Not applicable.
In ultrasound pictures, you notice that your baby has a sloping forehead and a squared lower jaw.
Our baby keeps covering its face with its arms, so no idea.
Yeah, that was all right. Oh, no wonder it's Baby Center UK. You can't trust the British.
Come on. Hey, some of those held true. The earlier points in that article seemed more realistic than the latter ones.
Myth: carrying high or low is a clue to the baby's gender.
It's a myth. I mean, there's nothing that predicts it. So
the truth is, how you carry depends on your body type and personal situation.
Personal situation.
Apparently.
Probably like physical makeup.
Yeah, the muscles.
Yeah. If you have a job at the time, it might hang lower. If you're unemployed, it hangs higher.
Yeah, like your stomach muscles have changed. They're more elastic if you're changing lower, if you're carrying lower.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Your partner gained weight, so you're having a girl. No.
It's all rubbish. But I'm just feeling boy. I can't explain it. I might be completely wrong. Like, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, life has a funny way of humoring us, and it's making me think now that I am having a boy, and then you were originally right the first time. You're having a girl. So life is mysterious in its ways. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
but what's that?
Well, it was that was I kind of was boy, and then it got to be, right up, close to D-Day, or I guess B-Day. I was like, yeah, it's a girl.
Yeah.
And I was on the opposite, end. I wanted, I was, hopeful firstborn was going to be a boy, and then second would be a girl. I wanted one of each, but I wanted the boy to be older, so that way, he could help me beat up any boyfriends that might come around.
That's a good way to look at it. I look at having a girl as the girl will be able to better assist me in, taking care of the second child as it gets older.
That's true. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it was more that, I came from a very male dominated family, like a bunch of males in our family. So a girl kind of offsets that a little bit, playing the averages.
Mm-hmm.
And then more recently, like a majority of my friends have been having girls versus boys. I work on a team that's, predominantly female. So then now it's like, okay, well, having a boy will offset my current life situation. That's probably playing into my whole psyche with the whole thing. But
yeah. Well, I know my parents were hoping for a boy. Like, what, before we found out, it was like, all right, we're going to the ultrasound. We can figure out, boy, girl. And we, first one, just like you, we didn't find out until, she was born, boy, girl. Didn't want to. So we, did that. This one, we wanted to find out. It was like, all right, do we need to buy new stuff, or can we just do hand-me-downs? And so, yeah, we wanted, but my parents wanted, they were hoping for a boy, because they knew that, like, we were done, like, after this, all three of us are done, with kids. And so this gives them an even 6 grandkids.
There you go. 3 and 3.
It goes 3 and 3 now. They were 3 girls, 2 boys. So that's where it was like, well, we need, but I'm, same thing. I come from, a family where, I've got 12, 13 cousins, and 4 of them are girls. That's it.
Yep.
I'm trying to 3, 4. Yeah, 13 cousins, 9 boys, 4 girls.
Yeah, and I really only have 3 direct cousins. Because my mom's sister didn't have any kids, and that was my mom's only sibling, and my dad's only blood sibling, his sister had 3 kids, and they were 2 boys and a girl, and then my brother and I, so we've got 4 boys and 1 girl for first cousins. So that was why it's like a male dominated family. But
well, that's what we had. And then there was, my mom's an only child, my dad's one of 5, and it's 3 boys, 2 girls on that. So it's very male dominated.
Yep. Well, and my I think she's 96 now, 96-year-old grandmother. She's one that said it's a boy, and she's like, your brother has a girl, and I'm thinking this one's a boy, and she's hoping for a boy to even it out, just in case, like, she's like, I don't have much time left on here. I want to see a boy and a girl great grandchild. So it's putting a lot of pressure on us to have a boy, but we'll see. Man. We'll see what Mother Nature has in store for us. But yeah, a lot of things coming in the next couple of weeks in our personal lives. We're going to be super busy. Again, we'll do what we can. We still, absolutely love our Star Wars and talking about it. So we will find whatever time we can, but just be a little flexible with us in the next coming weeks or months. So, and what are the chances we'll see you next week, Greg?
0.
on your induction date, right?
Yeah, maybe I'll call in, from the hospital.
From the hospital. Hey, Ma, we won the battle.
I might be able to just get it out on my phone.
If anything, send a little recording or something. We'll add it in. Send us pictures. We'll include that. Obviously,
they might be sleeping. I mean, if they're sleeping, maybe I can. Yeah.
There you go. Do a live chat. Bring it. Show us how your wife is doing.
Coming to you live from the hospital bathroom.
And who knows? I mean, we could be in the hospital anytime between now and then as well. So
you just don't know. I mean, yeah.
God forbid. I mean, I still need a lot to do a lot for work and preparation.
Your wife squats just a little too deep, and all of a sudden.
Yep. Exactly. Here we go.
Yep. Oh God.
But now that we've ran for 2 hours, this is definitely the longest episode that we've had. We're making up for potential lost time in the coming weeks.
Definitely. I think, we could probably we could figure out sometimes to just hop on a quick half hour, 40-minute.
Yeah. Spit out something quick.
Yeah.
Totally for it. Then the other part is me editing. We'll see if I can. Actually, editing now has become a lot easier with what I've learned and our capabilities. So,
and a half-hour deal. I mean, that only take you 6 hours as opposed to.
What I like to do, however long the episode is to record, if you double it, that's about how long it takes to edit. All things considered. So if we have a 30-minute episode, maybe an hour to edit. So it's just a good rule of thumb for myself on the time that I allot for it. So
makes sense.
All right. Well, as always, Greg, it's great talking to you. It's great talking to all you fans out there. As I said, bring us your likes, comments, follows, hit that subscription button, give us those reviews, ratings, everything. Come talk to us on the chat when we're talking. We love talking to all you listeners out there. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, potentially a couple of weeks, month. Have a wonderful Memorial Day for everyone stateside listening. Have a great holiday and safe holiday weekend. And we will be talking to you guys as soon as we can. I'm sure, hopefully we'll have something next week, one way or another. And as always, may the force be with you.